So today we're going to take a look at how to make a tile similar to the chocolate tiles in Candy Crush. So in order to do this, I have a little bit of art I'm going to use here. So let me just grab that really quickly. I have a link down in the description below where you can find all of these assets. Okay, so I'm calling this the slime tile. It has this kind of super light green PNG for it. So I'm going to jump into Unity here really quickly and just import that. Put it in my art folder. And then let's find this. Currently it's 128 by 128, so I'm going to set that as the pixels per unit. I don't need to worry about anything else. Now I'm going to use the concrete tile as the base for this. So I'm going to go to my prefabs, grab my concrete tile, pull that out. Now, just like last time, I'm going to break the prefab instance so that I'm not going to change the actual concrete tile with this. Then I'm going to change its art to be that, what I think looks like a little globby of slime. I'm going to leave its hit points at 1, and I'm going to rename this. Oops. So I'm going to call this slime tile. And then I'm going to give it a tag of chocolate. Sure. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to drag this into the prefabs so that I have a version of it for prefab. When these get created, I want to have a little, like, I don't know, animation. So I'm going to very, very fast make it quickly, or make an entering animation for them. So on my slime tile, I'm going to add a component. I'm going to add an animator. And then I'm going to go to my windows and open my animation window. Dock this down there. And I'm going to click create. Now this needs to go in my animation folder right here. Animations. So I'm going to call this first one slime idle. And slime idle is, I'm going to hit record so that it records stuff. I'm going to slightly change my scale and then just change it back. Oops. So that it has my scale recorded for what it should be normally. I'm going to create another animation. So create new clip from that drop down. I'm going to call this one slime intro. And for this one, this is going to be a really quick 1-second animation. Make sure I've got record on. It's going to go from being 0.2 by 0.2, and then at 1 second it's going to be full scale, 1 by 1. Now to make this look more interesting, I can flip over to the curves down here, and you can see these are the curves. If I grab these handles, I can adjust the way it goes into those. So I can make kind of this like bounce to it, and I'm going to do this on both axes, hopefully. There we go. That's the one I wanted. And a slightly different curve for each. Okay, now that we have that set up, here's what our little animation would look like. Now we can play with this some more if you want to. You can do a lot with these curves. For example, if I were to double click anywhere on the green or red curve, I can add another handle, and I can use that handle to make the end a little more steep. And I can do something similar to the green, but I'm not going to make it exactly the same. I'm going to offset it a little bit just to keep it interesting. And now that's going to be kind of our entrance animation, so that it's not just appearing out of nowhere, so that it actually has a little bit of flow and life to it. So what I want to do now is I want to take a look at the animator window, and I want to make sure that my slime intro is going to be the default state, because that's what I want to go to from entry. So set as default, and then I'm going to make a transition to idle. So we're going to go from entry to intro, which means that little glooping, bursting animation, and then from there directly to idle, and then idle is just going to keep looping and looping because there's no transition back to intro. Alright, cool. So now let's talk about the logic behind the chocolate pieces in Candy Crush. So the way those work, I'm going to pull this off to the side there. So the way the chocolate pieces work is if you destroy a chocolate piece, then you're okay for the next turn. But if you don't destroy a chocolate piece, the chocolate piece will find a piece that's near it and turn that piece into a chocolate piece. So it has the potential to take up the entire board. So what we want to do is break down that process into a few different helper methods. So first of all, we want to check to see if there are any chocolate pieces still on the board. And then once we're doing that, we also want to check to see if a chocolate piece was destroyed that turn. If a chocolate piece was not destroyed and there are chocolate pieces on the board, then we need to go through and find a piece that has regular pieces as its neighbor and choose one of those at random and then create a chocolate piece next to it there in one of those neighbor slots. So there's kind of 3 helper methods we're going to do there. Oh yeah, and also just like the concrete or the icing tiles, if you make a match near it, meaning in one of the cardinal 4 directions around it, then you'll destroy that piece. So we're going to be using a lot of the code from the concrete pieces, but we're going to be adapting it a bit more to make sure that we're making more of them if we need to. Alright, so let's take a look at the board class. So if I jump in here in board, the first thing I want to do is make a prefab for this. So in my game object, I'm going to add public game object, and I'm going to call this slime piece prefab. Alright, cool. Now I also need to have an array for these. So I'm going to call my array do private background tile, and this is going to be slime pieces, or slime tiles rather, so that will be consistent. Alright, cool. Now I need to initialize that array in the start method. So down here in start, I'm going to say that slime tiles is equal to a new background tile array width by height. Alright, cool. So now let's create a generate slime tiles method. So again, I'm still just borrowing code directly from the concrete tiles. So to do that, how about I even just open up the concrete tiles, and I'm just going to copy this method really quickly, paste it down there. This is going to be generate slime. I'm going to go through the entire board layout. I'm going to look at the kind, and I think I called it chocolate, so I'm being a little oh no, tile kind dot slime, I think. Yeah, I'm being really not consistent. Okay, so my temp position, game object tile, and this is going to be concrete, this is going to be slime. Oop, no, not slime tiles, but slime tile prefab. Did I call it slime piece prefab? I did. Good lord. I'm really inconsistent. And then this isn't going to be concrete tiles, this is going to be slime tiles. Alright, cool. Now I need to call this method from setup, where I'm, that was weird, where I'm making all of my preset pieces. So generate slime tiles. Cool. And now I need to also make sure that I'm destroying them, and for that I'm going to copy the code from damage concrete. So I'm just going to grab damage concrete. I'm going to make a new method here. I'm going to call damage slime, and then everywhere it says concrete tiles, I'm going to change that to be slime tiles. I could do find and replace for this, but I've made mistakes with find and replace before, so I'm always a little leery to do it. So instead, I'm just going to go through this the long way. So just changing these concrete tile array references to slime tiles, and I'll have to do it on every direction. Like I said, I know I can do find and replace, but I've burned myself with find and replace before, so I'm a little leery. Okay, cool. Now I need to go into my destroy matches at method, and if goal manager isn't null, sound manager isn't null. Oh, there we go. So where I damage concrete, I want to also damage slime, column and row. So that should be able to give us slime tiles that are damageable, but we still have the problem where we need to make sure that we're not refilling and we're not collapsing into those tiles, and also we need to have make sure that the shuffleboard takes that into account. So let's fix that. So let's go to our decrease row code 2. So not concrete tile, we're going to add and not slime tiles, IJ. So there's decrease row. Now we need to do it for refill board. Concrete tiles and not slime tiles, IJ. Cool. And where else did I say? Shuffleboard, I think. So not concrete tiles and not slime tiles, IJ. All right, cool. Did I type something in wrong? Oh, yeah, I forgot the. Cool. All right, so yeah. That's weird. Oh, because I took the. Good lord. All right, cool. So now they should be working so that we have them being able to be destroyed and we have them not being refilled. So let's check and make sure that that's true really quickly before we do anything else. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into my, as soon as everything's done saving, go into my level, and I'm going to go into my board layout, and I'm going to change 4 of the ones that are concrete to slime. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go to my board and make sure that my slime piece prefab has my slime tile in it. And then if I hit play, let's see if I broke anything. Okay, so I have my slime tiles here, and if I destroy a piece next to it, that gets destroyed. Yeah, okay, cool. So, but this isn't doing the thing where if we don't destroy a piece, it turns another piece into slime. So let's fix that. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a global variable here that's going to tell whether or not we need to create a new slime. And I'm going to put that here. We'll put it with the match stuff. So this is going to be a, this can just be private. So private bool, I'll call it make slime, and I'll default it to true. Okay, and now if we destroy a slime, then we don't want to make a slime. So in this damage slime method here, anywhere where I would destroy or damage a slime, I'm going to change that make slime to false. So I'm just going to take this line right here, and I'm going to paste it there, and paste it there, and paste it there. And then at the end of every turn, I want to default that make slime to true again. So I'm going to go to my fillboard coroutine, and right when I'm changing the game state to move, I'm going to do make slime equals true. Alright, cool. And now let's make our helper methods here. I'm going to keep these kind of down around here. Doesn't really matter where they go. I'm going to put mine after the fillboard coroutine. So my first helper method is, I'm going to call it check to make slime, not the best name. So this is going to be a private void check to make slime. And this doesn't take any arguments because it's going to check the entire board. So first I'm going to check the slime tiles array. So for int I is 0, I is less than width, I plus plus. For int j is 0, j is less than height, j plus plus. So that's checking the entire array. What I want to do is I want to say if slime tiles ij, and I'm going to add is not null. I don't have to do the is not null. If I just do that, it's going to be true or false. And make slime. Then I'm going to call another method to make a new slime. So this other method is something I'm going to create in just a second, and I'm going to call that from the fillboard coroutine. And this is important. I need to call it before I check to see if the board is deadlocked, because if I turn one of the existing pieces into a slime, that alters whether or not the board is deadlocked. So I'm going to add that check to make slime right here before I check to see if the board is deadlocked. All right, cool. Now my next helper method is going to check to see if there are adjacent pieces that are regular pieces next to any of the slime. So we'll do private void. Actually, this isn't going to be a void because we want to return in which direction the adjacent piece is. So this is going to be a vector2. Check for adjacent, and this is going to take a couple arguments. We're going to need to know which piece we're looking for adjacent to. And so this is going to be, we're going to need an integer for column and an integer for row. Do I already have a check for adjacent? Oh, no. Okay, cool. So what I want to do here is I want to say if all dots, let's go column plus casted integer direction.x. Good lord. Oh, okay. Oops. Let's do this as column plus 1. I forgot I was doing this a different way than I thought I was. Column plus 1 row. And column is less than width minus 1, meaning if we still have some room on the board. Then I want to return vector2.right. So let me just kind of explain this really quickly here. So if we have a dot to the right and the column is less than width minus 1, then we're going to return vector2.right, meaning that there is a piece on the right. Yeah, and then let's do 3 more of these. So I'm going to copy this and paste it. So next I want to look at minus 1, and I want to make sure that the column is greater than 0, because now I'm checking to the left, and I'll return vector2.left. Now I'll check row plus 1, which is above, which means that the row, not the column, has to be less than height minus 1. And that's going to return vector2.up. And then next I'm going to check beneath, minus 1. And then my row in this case needs to be greater than 0. And then in that case, I'm going to return vector2.down. Alright, cool. And then if all of those aren't true, I'm going to return null, meaning nothing. Okay, cool. So first helper method here is checking all of the pieces to see if we need to make a slime. This is checking for adjacent pieces on any one slime. Oh, I guess I can't return null with a vector2, so I'll return vector2.0. We need a third helper method to kind of pull this in. So our third helper method is going to be a private void. I'm going to call this make new slime. This doesn't take any arguments, and I'm going to have a Boolean value here which tells whether or not we've already made a slime. So I'm just going to call it slime. I'm going to default it to false. And while not slime, meaning while slime is false, we're going to do something. Now, to make sure that we don't have an infinite loop, it's best, in my opinion, to add an iteration counter here, or something for loops. So I'm going to do integer loops equals 0. So I'm going to do this while not slime, and loops is less than 200. I'm never going to have a situation where I have more than 200 spaces on the board, but I could have 100, which is my usual default with stuff like this. So there we go. And then also inside the while loop somewhere, we have to do loops plus plus, so that we're increasing the counter every time we go through the while loop. We're making sure we don't go through it infinitely. Okay, so inside the while loop here, I'm going to create two new integers. I'm going to say integer new x and integer new y. Let's set new x equal to random.range between 0 and width. And let's set new y equal to random.range 0 height. Alright, cool. Now what I'm going to do with that new x and new y is I'm going to say if slime tiles new x new y. So if there exists a slime tile at that x and y position, then what I want to do is find out if there's an adjacent piece at that position. So vector2 adjacent is equal to new x, sorry, it's a new vector2 of new x, new y. So actually, I did this wrong. Vector2 adjacent is equal to check for adjacent. No, come on now. And check for adjacent at new x, new y. Alright, cool. So this is going to return a direction, left, right, up, or down. And we're going to say if adjacent is not equal to vector2.0, meaning if there is an adjacent piece, then what we want to do is destroy the dot that's there, destroy all dots new x, new y. And create a temporary position. So vector2 temp position is equal to a new vector2 and, oh wait, this isn't at new x, new y. We want to get new x plus the casted integer version of adjacent.x and new y plus the casted integer version of adjacent.y. Okay, let me finish this line and then I'll go through and explain everything because I feel like it's gotten confusing. So temp position is going to be a new vector2 that is new x plus casted integer adjacent.x and new y plus casted integer adjacent.y. Alright, so let me explain this so far. So we're going to make a new slime. Whether or not we've made a slime starts out as false, and our loops start out at 0. So while slime is false and loops are less than 200, we're going to choose a new x and new y, which is a random spot on the board, between 0 and width, not including width, 0 and height, not including height. So we're just going to choose random spots on the board. We're going to see if there is a slime tile there. If there is, we're going to check to see if there's an adjacent tile. So meaning a tile that's adjacent that is not a slime tile. So if there's not an adjacent tile that's not a slime tile, then we're going to increase the loops and try again. But if there is an adjacent tile, then we're going to destroy the dot that's on that adjacent tile. So new x plus adjacent.x. So that's where the adjacent tile was. If it was to the right, then this is going to be new x plus 1, new y plus 0. If it's up, it's new x plus 0, new y plus 1, so on and so forth. Then I'm creating a temporary position here so that I know where to create the new slime tile at. So this is adjacent.y. And then after I create that temporary position, I want to do game object tile is equal to instantiate, and instantiate takes 3 objects. We're going to do slime piece prefab, temp position, quaternion.identity. And then I want to add it to the slime tiles. So slime tiles, new x plus casted integer direction.x. Good lord, come on now. Adjacent.x, new y plus casted integer adjacent.y is equal to tile. Oh, not just tile, but the background tile part of it. Dot get component background tile. Okay, so now we're setting that in the array. And then, oh yeah, now we have to do slime equals true. So that's going to break us out of the loop. And then up here, where I'm calling a method to make a new slime, I just have to do make new slime. Okay, cool. So I'm going to save my script. I'm going to pop back into Unity here. Alright, let's let that compile. And then I'll hit play. And I'll make a match that isn't near the slime. We'll see if it makes a new one. So, oh, looks like I can't really, oh no, I can do this. New. Okay, so it didn't make a new slime. Why didn't it? I think I put that make slime boolean in the wrong place. Let's see. Damage slime. No, I did that right there because we'd only damage it Let's go. Nope, I did that in the right spot. And then when we refill the board. So fill board co. Check to make slime. Okay, let me check this out. Okay, so here's the issue. This is kind of embarrassing. This time I remembered to change refill and fill board, but I forgot to change when they're actually being created. So if I go to setup here, if not blank spaces, not concrete tiles, and not slime tiles, IJ. Alright, so I'll save that. Pop back into Unity here. And now let's try it. As soon as this is done compiling and thinking and all that stuff. Alright, so, okay. Make a match right there. It's going to refill, and there's a new slime tile. And it destroyed the tile, or sorry, the dot underneath it. If I click on this, oops, not what I meant to do, and move it away, you can see that. Now if I go back, because we made that little animation for it, oh wow, didn't even play at all. I wonder why. Did I? Oh, forgot to apply. Good lord. Alright, so all that animation stuff I did without applying it to the prefab, it was only on this little one over here. So now, if I destroy pieces that aren't slime, everything comes back in, and I get that nice little show up thing there. Right, so yeah, here we go. We have our pieces that act like the chocolate tiles coming in. If we destroy a chocolate tile, or slime tile, as I'm calling them now, we don't get a new one. And when they generated, they did not generate with anything underneath it. Haha! Alright, cool. So we're going to finish this up pretty quickly. I estimate there's probably maybe 3 videos left. I'll try to get them done in the next week, because I'm going back to school next week. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description down below, or in the comments down below. I have links in the description. And yeah, have yourselves a wonderful day.